Hello and welcome back to the Birdhouse Rules. First, if you hear the dog door or a dog barking or anything like that, Chip's running in and out, it's actually a pretty day. The first one we've had in a while, because it's February. But I just wanted to come on and explain where I've been since August. So, I think the last video I did was a reading vlog, maybe. My dad actually passed away at the end of August unexpectedly. So we knew he had, we didn't think he had anything life-threatening. So, he had arthritis, and he had, also, if you can hear water running, my fish tanks, they're over here, and so they're just off screen. That's the fish tanks. This tank on the right is Beta's. We got one sick. She's in a hospital tank, so that's why that end one is empty. They need plants. I haven't been able to get anything to grow in there for some reason. Then the one on the right is a glowfish tank, and it's got tetras and corridor catfish. And then the bottom one, you can't see very good because there's a table in the way, but it's got corridoras, guppies, and platies in it. So anyway, so that's the water noise running in the background. Anyway, so we knew he had arthritis, and it was the degenerative kind, and so he had a lot of back problems. He was having a lot of trouble in the last few years getting around, even to the extent that he's not been able to go visit my brother, who lives like 2 hours away. Even just going across town to his sister's house would be extremely painful for him physically. And so he could only stay for a little while, and he'd have to take medicine in order to be able to handle it. So we knew he had arthritis. And so, but he woke up one morning with what he thought was a crick in his neck, and didn't think anything about it, because how often do you wake up and you've got a little pain in your neck, So he put it off, just took some ibuprofen, tried to rest, and he was a reader. He was an avid reader, so he would read hours a day. So usually on his Kindle, not so much physical books anymore because it was hard for him to hold. And he was only in his 60s. He wasn't elderly by no means. He was born in 57, so he was in his late 60s. But it just got, so that was like on a Friday. He woke up with a crick in his neck, and it just kept getting worse. And so then on Tuesday, he was in agony, absolute agony. So his sister is actually a nurse, so she come over to check on him, and he had a knot on the back of his neck. So she's like, well, let's go to the ER. Maybe they can give you something to relax the muscles or whatever, and it'll go away quicker. So they went to the ER. It was late at night when this happened, when they took him to the ER. So, and I live an hour away from my parents. So it was late at night. It was like 9:30, 10 o'clock. So I get a text between 11 and 10 and 11, and I had already taken melatonin and Benadryl for the night because I was fixing to go to sleep. So they were like, well, don't come. I'm sure they'll just give us medicine, and it'll be fine. So by the time I went to bed, it was like midnight-ish when I went to bed. They hadn't heard anything from the doctor yet. So when I woke up in the morning, they said that his neck had a broke bone in it, actually, and he was getting sent to a bigger hospital in a bigger city. So we went to the bigger hospital. Mom come home because they hadn't prepared to spend the night, So she come home, packed some bags for him, and then I drove up to her house, or we drove on to the bigger hospital. And once we got there, it was like a whirlwind. It was like a whirlwind. It was just so crazy. It was just one thing after the next. We just thought they would x-ray him. They would give us a game plan about how to fix this broke bone in his neck. Well, after different tests, I'm not going to drag it out. We were there for a week. So he was admitted Wednesday morning to that bigger city hospital, and he passed away the following Wednesday. And it was one thing after another, after another, after another. So at first they're talking about surgery, and they're running all these tests to figure out what they have to do for the surgery. And they were talking about, so what happened was this, is it V2, C2? The second disc in there, whatever letter it is, the second disc in there. They call it a hangman's fracture. And what had happened was the bone had deteriorated. And it turned out he had had kidney cancer. And we looked back through his records, and his numbers had been off for years. And the doctor didn't say anything about it, didn't catch it, didn't do anything about it. So that kidney cancer had spread from the kidney to his adrenals, to his lungs, they think to his brain, and into the bone. And the surgeon up there said not only was it in this vertebrae, but it was actually in his lower back too. So that's why he had been in so much pain the last couple years, because his bones were deteriorating from cancer. So anyway, it was a lot all in 1 week, and it took a lot to not necessarily accept it. So my dad was a saved man, he was a Christian, so he ultimately made the decision. So they told us that if they fixed this, they would have to fuse his vertebrae together and then put rods in his neck, and he wouldn't be able to move his head no more. And at first he was willing to do that because he wanted more time with Mom, and us, of course, but it's just them two at home now. Chip is digging over here, if you can hear that. So he just wanted to be able to spend time with Mom. So at first that's what he was willing to do. Well, then after a few days, so they had planned on doing the surgery Monday. Sunday, the anesthesiologist come in, and he was telling us about what they were going to have to do. And they told us that they would have to put him on a ventilator during the surgery. And the anesthesiologist said that he may wake up and be able to breathe on his own just fine, but there was a chance that he wouldn't, and he would be on a ventilator for however long he had left. So so we talked over it with Dad, and he ultimately didn't want to be on a ventilator because he didn't want the last little bit of his life to be on a ventilator. So it was his decision. And once he made that decision, I can't remember what day they moved him to the ICU. I don't remember if it was Sunday night or Monday morning they moved him to the ICU. But he deteriorated quickly after that. And like I said, he passed away that Wednesday. It was just so quick to get your mind around, Because he and I had been texting. Dad and I text all the time. Every day, all day long. My mom's not a big talker. Me and her are close in a different way, because she doesn't like to talk on the phone. She doesn't like to text. She will to check in, but she don't like that. But, so he and I just talk all day long. And so up until the point he went into the hospital, we had been talking, all day long. So I think at that time I was as well as I could be and had accepted it because I had been praying a lot, because I didn't want him to suffer. Because we don't ever want any of our loved ones to suffer. But I knew, certain things that he didn't want, And he had never wanted chemo. His dad died of lung cancer. My other grandpa died of lung cancer. And so he had seen that and how chemo had done both to them and other loved ones, you know, and friends. And so he didn't want chemo. So I began praying about it when we figured out that it was cancer from, you know, from that point on. At first it was like, well, Lord, give us wisdom to figure out what to do and how to handle this and how to navigate Dad once he has this surgery. Because at first we didn't know it was cancer. And then when we figured out it was cancer and how bad it really was, we were like, well, Dad's not going to want to do surgery. It's already spread all over his body, so he's not going to have a whole lot of time left. Help us accept it and be there for him during this time, you know. But I also had tons of people praying for me, and I know that some who are in like some of our book clubs on here on YouTube, like Hannah's and Keisha's and all those that I had told about it during that time, because it was also during Comfy Cozy was having an Agatha August, and I was supposed to be a co-host, and I think I joined one live show, but the next one was that week, and so I didn't get to participate. So I had already told all you all in the book group, so I know I had just tons and tons of people praying for me and my family, and it was a big help, and it helped me, I think, through that time. So he was definitely the closest person I have ever lost. I lost my grandmother a couple years ago, but it was a different relationship, you know. Totally different dynamic. Me and Dad, as said, we're super, super close, and we still need a lot of prayer, because I don't think that when you lose a loved one, you never really get over it, you know. You get to a point where you can function, and you get to a point where you can have a happy life, but you have this big hole in your life as well. So it's a huge adjustment. There's a car coming. Actually, it's the trash man, so it might get loud for a second. One moment. Okay. Now that the trash man is gone, but it's a huge adjustment. And since then, too, like, he was a veteran, so he had veterans benefits, and he was retired, so he had his retirement. But it was, he had disability, not retirement. He had disability and then veterans benefits, because he's been disabled for 20 plus years, so he wasn't able to work, so he's been on disability that time. And then Mom is retired, so she only has a limited budget, so she lost 2/3 of their income when Dad died. So because of that, she can continue to live in their house. This is not my childhood house. We bought it together. I say we. I was there when they bought it. In, I don't know, almost 20 years ago. 2008, I think. They bought that house. But it was their house that they had bought together, you know. And she could continue to live there, but money would be really, really tight. So, and like I said, she's an hour from me. She's 2 hours from my brother. So she's made the decision to sell that house, and she's going to move in with us. Our house is really small. I think I've mentioned that on here before. It's less than 1,000 square feet, so it's a really small house. It's maybe the size of a 2-bedroom apartment. But my library room / office is just storage right now. It's got all our books in it in our closets, but we've just been piling it up since I quit work. So you'll see that in later clips. Or in the next video. I might make it a different video because this is already 12 minutes long. But anyway, so we're going to declutter, and she's going to move in with us, and then she's going to buy, when she sells that house, she's going to buy her a trailer or something to put on our land and live with us. So, and it'll be nice to have her close, because like I said, she doesn't like to talk on the phone. So, and that's another reason why I've not been active on here, because yes, it was a lot to process, and it was difficult in the beginning. But 2, I've been trying to go up there and spend time with her multiple days a week. not just for her sake, but for my sake also, you know. So I haven't filmed anything. I haven't read a whole lot. I think the most I read was either in October or November. And that's a big change for me because I did read a lot before. But Dad, like I said, Dad was a reader, so it's a big adjustment. And he and I talked about books the most. Dave and I talk a little bit about them, but we don't always read the same books. Mom's not a reader. She does read some. I don't mean it that way, but she prefers to read more nonfiction, like Christian nonfiction and stuff, so we can talk about that stuff in Bible and religion, but not fiction books. So anyway, so it's been a big adjustment in that way, and like I said, I haven't been reading all that much. So anyway, so that's the update. That's it for now. Going forward, there's a few more videos that I want to record. I will talk about some books, probably do a January wrap-up, because I'm not going to go back and rehash the last few months of the year, last year. So I'll probably just start fresh and do a January wrap-up. I didn't read much, but I will do a wrap-up. And then also, I want to start doing some health vlogs. So if you're not interested in that, I'll have that in the title. So if you're not interested in health or diet or anything like that, then I'll put a note, like I said, in the title. And then if you don't want to watch it, you don't have to watch it. You don't have to watch any of my videos. But anyway, for those who are interested or who have the same struggles as I do. So that's something that I want to start. And also, I forgot to update as well. I started a new job. So I started at the beginning of February. I started a full-time job, and I haven't worked since 2022. And because of my health issues, it's a huge adjustment. It's a huge adjustment, I think, no matter the situation. But when you have health issues, then it's that much more. So, but Dave is close to retirement age, and I would like him to be able to retire. I would love for him to be able to retire and spend time with the kids. Right now, or before I started working, when there's events with the kids' schools, our kids are grown. Our grandkids, when they have events at school during the day, during the work day, I would be the one who would go. And I loved that, and it's a blessing to be able to do that, but I wish Dave had that blessing, and I want him to be able to enjoy that time because he's earned it. And so hopefully the job that I have started, which is it's bookkeeping and switchboard work. So it's just an office job, and I'm hoping I'll be able to do it, but it is a struggle, and I'll talk about it in my health update. So, we'll just have to find a new rhythm. I want to become consistent with filming here and build this platform and build the community. I enjoy so much being a part of the book clubs that I'm a part of because of YouTube, like Keisha's and Hannah's and Oceana's, and Amanda's great. She doesn't have a book club, but I love her channel. And getting to talk about Christian fiction and Bible reading and all that kind of stuff. It's a blessing to have it in your real life, but it's also a blessing to make friends. It's encouraging to have friends all over the place that also enjoy the same things. So anyway, that's it for now. That's the update. So that's where I've been. So I think that's all for now. If any of you have went through similar things or are struggling, just reach out to the Lord. I promise you, He'll comfort you and keep you and give you the strength to make it through. He is our strength. He's our everything. And we just have to remember that He's there, and He wants to hear from us, and He wants to help us. He doesn't want us to go through anything in life alone, but especially the hard stuff. So keep praying for each other. And if you have any prayer requests or anything, you can leave them in the comments below. And I just thank you all for being here and for watching, and I hope you all have a blessed day. Bye for now.